Today I'd like to discuss the book Glass Castle. I just finished it. Well, actually I finished it like 2 weeks ago. And this time I actually wrote down like what I wanted to say in this video, but then I lost the list. But I think I still like kind of know what I wanted to say because I was the one writing the list. So I'm just going to kind of like give my 2 cents and 3 cents, maybe more, maybe less, who knows. Let's just start. And I'll still try to like not include too many spoilers just in case you didn't read it yet. I know I'm not a parent, so I don't really have a lot of knowledge like how it is to be a parent, and I'm quite sure it's very difficult. But I'm also quite sure that they put a bit too much responsibility on the children, in my opinion. And also they had some ways of raising them that I question. Like, I'm not saying they're wrong because I don't know. Like, certain things they also just said to their children really didn't seem nice at all. Like, they actually seemed quite shitty. You know, I'm going to be honest. I just didn't think, like, for instance, the mother, she just wasn't a mother. Like, she didn't really bother to be a mother to the children. I think she always preferred the benefits of being a mother without wanting to accept, like, the responsibility, if that makes sense. Also, the dad. I mean, it's probably difficult if you have an alcoholic in the family, but if you're an alcoholic, I think that also complicates things way further. It's just a very weird family constellation, but at the same time, I thought that that was one of the more interesting aspects in the book because it just gave a totally different perspective. I mean, I did not grow up in that circumstance, in this kind of nomadic, going from town to town life, and also with like a bit different parents, and also with a different style of raising children. Very interesting to just see the different aspects. I actually really like reading those kind of books, like The Secret Life of Bees, or just books that are written from very different standpoint. And I think it helps me relate or understand circumstances in the world a bit better. I think that books, no matter if they're like fantasy or like non-fiction, I think you can learn a lot from them anyway about like how other people think and work, and it adds like a puzzle piece to your worldview puzzle. Does it make sense? I hope so. The parents, they kind of bother me. I think they put a lot of blame also on the children, which I don't quite agree with. I'm surprised how normal the main characters ended up kind of seeming to be. One thing I didn't get throughout the whole book is I didn't understand what the glass castle like symbolized, because I think it's kind of a symbol for something, I guess, but I just didn't really figure out what that symbol is. I also think that fire might have symbolized something. For instance, how several times she came in contact with fire. They surely burned down the house like at least 5 times. And also the scar she had from the fire. I don't know if that's I have no idea what symbol it is. Actually, I'll Google it. Maybe like there are some smarter people out there who kind of figured it out, and I'll just kind of leave it here what they thought. And now, about how the book was written, it actually didn't take me that long to read it. Also because I think it just was written in a very easy way. It wasn't written too simplistic, and then they went to the mall, and then it wasn't written like that, but it was just very easy and fast to read through. It wasn't like, I mean, if I would have to compare it from the way it was written, it reminded me a bit of the opposite of Atonement, just because it was very, like, a lot of dialogue, a lot of things happened, and it was just a faster paced book. And to me, I don't know, that may vary from person to person, but for me it was more appealing. Also because the chapters weren't that long. I prefer it if the chapters are shorter, because then I'm like, oh, well, just another chapter, oh, well, just another chapter, versus when a chapter is long, I tend to like hesitate before starting a whole new chapter, because I like to read the book in chapters, if that makes sense. So yeah, if I would have to summarize like the takeaways, or what you're probably supposed to do in a review, I don't know, what do you do in a review? I probably should know that. I'm also not a professional though, to be honest, as you probably figured out by now. But to summarize my opinion is, I think it's a really interesting book. It shows a different perspective to my normal life. I don't know like how your life is, but I think it's like either way I think will be an interesting perspective to see, and also just to read about like the upbringing of somebody with that sort of life. I think also just some important realizations and takeaways that you can take for yourself for the future maybe. I mean, it had deep topics, but it was also still entertaining. Despite being a very fast-paced book, it was very thought-provoking. I think it's definitely a good book club book, if that's something you'd like to look for. It's one of those stories where it's about like the development of a person. I don't know if that's a genre, but or what genre that's part of, but it's about somebody growing up. It's kind of like an autobiography. I actually think it is an autobiography somewhat, just because the author is called the same as the person in the book. If you like those kind of stories, because it is told like in a more story way, not in a total autobiographical, that's not a word, this is the word. I think everybody can have a takeaway in the end, so I can recommend it. Yeah, and that's that, I guess. I don't know if these videos actually have any useful content, but I enjoy them, and I think I'll also enjoy looking back in a few years kind of at my book reading collection kind of thing. Yeah, if you read it too, let me know. If you have any opinions you'd like to share, also feel free to let me know. I really like it, and yeah, see you next time. Bye!